Well, good evening, everybody. And this is Reverend Rob saying, welcome to Crossing Realms Together with my great friend and exorcist. Let me tell you something. If you're going to have a friend, have an exorcist, especially if you're going to do some of the stupid crap I do, okay? And get with some of the people I do. So have a friend that's an exorcist, the lovely Miss Laura Van Tyne. How are
Thank
you
you
this
very
evening?
much. Yes. It comes in handy sometimes, especially when you go into like restaurants with bars in them,
Oh, yeah, exactly. Holy crap.
or spiritual conferences. It comes in handy there too.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Hospitals, we can go on
Yeah.
and
So it's always nice to have an exorcist. And I still laugh when I think about an old one of the ladies that used to help clean the house would come in and she's like, "Who are you talking to? An exorcist?" Yeah, no, I'm talking to an exorcist. And she's like, "You never know what's going to happen at your place. You
on.
just
Right?
don't,
Cheers.
you know." So yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with our prayer, but I'm going to start with a little different prayer tonight, okay? If that's all right. And because we're talking about angels, and we are
Yeah.
going to do an angel invocation. Would that work for you, Miss Laura?
Absolutely, sir.
All right, here we go. Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, the Divine Mother, Spirit, Son, Universe. I welcome the presence of divine angels, and I want everybody to do this along with me, okay? Beings of love, light, and truth. I call upon the angels who walk with me and those who guard and guide this space. May Archangel Michael bring protection. Archangel Raphael bring healing. May Archangel Gabriel speak divine truth and Archangel Uriel illuminate our wisdom. May this time be held in sacred light. Let only love enter and only truth, and boy, do we need that, remain. So mote it be. Wow. Okay.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I had that one written down, kind of played with it, did some things, whatnot, was writing it, and then said, okay, there we go. So, but my little
Perfect
brain,
for this evening.
what's that?
Perfect for this evening.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's see what's going on. Oh, Miss Cynthia, check your email. My phone number is in your email. We've been playing email tag back and forth or whatnot. Shoot me a text. We can talk tomorrow morning, whatever. Okay. But I know we've been missing each other about doing the free tarot read. Okay. So would love getting started with that. Love to hear from you. Okay. Give me a buzz. So, but to everybody else, welcome. And wow, we got so many people. Donna, and Lakenia, welcome. This is cool. Deborah, man, so many people now starting to pop in. I appreciate you. W. Colombo, welcome. Glad to see you back. And then I saw Donna's down here. Donna, let me see. Man, so many people. My lovely wife, Gillian, keeping me straight, keeping an eye on me, and helping me from not going senile. So there we go. So, yes, tonight we are talking about angels. And I thought it was cool when we throw in the topic about how to use them.
How to use them? That's the biggest question I get about angels, honestly. Well, what do? I ask from angels. What is the biggest question? So, yeah, that was this is gonna be a fun night tonight. So,
Yeah.
thank you all for coming and tuning in.
Yeah. So what if your first thing to tell somebody about how to use an angel, okay, what would you tell them?
That you don't have to look for specific angels for specific services. Because now I got to go through my Rolodex when I'm under a crisis moment, right? And just it can be as simple as I'm requesting the presence of angels too, and we'll get more into this, but it's, people, do I ask for Archangel Gabriel, Uriel? What do I do? Is a regular angel okay, or do I need an archangel? What is the difference between an angel and an archangel, right? So
Right.
all of those things. And I think honestly, angels have been so underutilized by humanity for so many reasons. And maybe
Absolutely.
we kind of start off with that a little bit. Why are they so underutilized, right? You don't have to be Judeo-Christian to believe in angels. Every culture in humanity throughout time has words for angels or concepts for angels. They're just called different things. Same widget.
Yep,
So we
absolutely. Pour myself some more coffee.
excellent.
One of the things I've told people too is, again, the whole thing is like, yes, you don't have to have your Rolodex, as you said, of angels. It's good if you know what you're asking, where to do, and which angel will probably be there. But put forth the intention that you need the angel to deal with, would be my first thing. Call an angel with intention. I need protection. There's something going on and I need protection. You don't have to know that that's going to be fall under Archangel Michael. And Michael may look down and go, send one of his angels directly to go take care of that. Okay.
Mhm.
So does that make sense?
Absolutely. And, there's different hierarchies of the angelic realms. And we need to understand that it's no different than any corporate organization, right?
Right.
You've got janitors, you've got secretaries, you've got people who are doing the work, you've got middle management, you've got the upper management. It's the same concept. And having an organized hierarchy of a structure enables the work to be delivered more efficiently, honestly.
Right.
And so we don't have to necessarily, I need a middle management angel for this, but just
Right.
know that there's many different levels of these angelic realms. And we've been programmed to think that so many things about angels that are just false.
Right.
Um, for example, my problem isn't big enough for an angel's help. How sad is that, right?
Well, and I think the other thing here too, that this really saddens my heart, is people say they believe in angels until they actually need one. And I think they start doubting their own faith. That's why
Yeah.
whenever we talk, I'm telling people it's important for you to know your own belief. What do you believe? Where do you stand fast? Because they will hear you. And what I want you to start doing, people, if you're not sure, if you still feel funny or whatnot, you're just not, call them anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
Put it out there. Hey, I need healing. I need an angel that's going to come through and heal and help me step forth and become whoever I need to become or do whatever I need to do. Call them with intention so they know, because there are specialties divided up amongst archangels. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to ask you a question, okay? Because, and this is seriously, I want your opinion. You and I have not discussed this, all right? One of the things I do not believe is Michael the archangel himself is standing over everybody. Michael's my angel, okay? What I believe is just like what you said. You may have a guardian angel of Michael, all right? But he is putting his division around you. So therefore, you feel his presence because they're there representing Michael. Does that make
Yes,
sense?
it does make sense. And we can also look at it as Archangel Michael's energetic signature,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And so when we have that, we have that protection behind us. And we also have to know we have to practice using our angels. We
Right.
can't just all of a sudden find ourselves, in turmoil. And now I need 10,000 angels, blah, blah. Angels are karmically earned. We have to earn them. A serial killer, I guarantee you, is not packed chock full of the angels that are not fallen, right?
Right.
We're not serial killers here, but what I'm saying is that we have to know that we have to practice. This is a spiritual practice, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
And Debbie
Go ahead.
Colombo, yeah, kinda. They are not extraterrestrial. Okay. I do believe, and this is a conversation for another day, okay, that some angelic presence is confused as alien or extraterrestrial, and sometimes vice versa. Okay. But yes, we have realms of angels. We have more archangels than what we really realize. And they have their divisions like platoons in the army that have special skills, special things, or whatnot, or in the forces, you know? And yes, I think that's a good way to put it, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And there are galactic councils out there, and it's kind of a buzzword lately. I'm
Yeah.
channeling a galactic council kind of thing, but they do exist.
Yes.
However, and I'm seeing actually more and more benevolent ETs coming in to help out. That's a whole nother topic, though.
Right.
With angelic realms, we all have access to angels, but we have to practice. We have to earn them. How do we earn our angels? We request their presence. We make sure that, as much as possible, we have kind words, kind deeds, kind actions, that we're abiding by the tenets of spiritual laws. Meaning, and spiritual laws are these basic tenets that we live by that are rooted in ancient history, but also galactic history, universal history. As above, so below. You sow what you reap. Reap what you sow. This type of concept, because the angelics cannot and will not interfere with our free will. They cannot do something that is against the laws of karma, spiritual law. Because if they were to do something that does not abide by that, they would fall off to the dark side. Fallen angels, for example. So when we ask for the angels' help, we got to ask ourselves, is this in spiritual alignment with my greater good and the angelic's greater good? Now, if I ask for an angel to off my ex-boyfriend or whatever, okay, I'm being
Okay.
extreme.
That's a whole karma
A
show.
little extreme. The angel is going to be like, no. Okay, just no.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But if
And
I'm
angels
asking,
probably say they're going, guys, just have a little bit of wine.
yep, yep.
That's how the angel's protecting you. One of my looking up at Michael going, false alarm. She just,
Not
a little too
today.
much Cabernet.
Or Pinot.
Yeah, or Pinot. Oh, my wife, you and my wife would have the whole wine conversation. I could grab certain names. I've never been a wine fan. Doesn't mean
Okay.
I don't drink it, but
Yeah.
I
Every
know.
now and then, right? Yep. Yeah.
Every now and then
Well,
when she says, "Oh, you need to try this,"
yeah.
she
Yeah.
does
Well,
the
I
same
am in
thing
like
with
the heart
Brussels
of wine
sprouts.
country
So,
right now. So
do what?
I'm in the heart of wine country right now, the
There
Willamette
you
Valley area.
go. There you go. So
Um,
yeah, no, it is, and Donna's to understand, okay, that there are realms of angels. We
yeah.
do need, they're more powerful. They're more than what we understand. They're a whole huge thing, and early scriptures tell us, and not just from the Christian Bible, but from other Bibles. If we go back in time to ancient scriptures, they actually write that they walk the earth as in human form. So, they came to earth.
They
This all
came,
preceded Noah.
it
Okay.
did. They came to Earth in what is termed the seraphim transport.
Right.
And they came to Earth to assist Earth, to help Earth settle in love and light and all those good things that we're still waiting for. But
And then they found wine and started screwing everything up.
there you go. Can we write our own angel versions? But in all seriousness, angels have to abide by spiritual law. So if I need an angel's help, I need to be specific. And the more specific you are in your request, the more they can deliver for you. But also, don't just start out one day and expect all of your angelic prayers to be answered in a heartbeat. It takes time. First
Correct.
of all, Are you supposed to learn certain lessons? So let's say, for example, I'm up for this really big job interview that I want. And
Right.
I'm asking the angels, okay, angels, I need help. Make sure I get this job, angels. The angel can't make sure you get the job.
No.
You can ask the angel, help me guide my words during the interview. Help me make sure that my message is being delivered to the person interviewing me. Help
Right.
me understand that if I don't get this job, why? And the reason why I might not get the job is maybe somebody else needs it more. Maybe, just maybe, there's some different path that you are being led down that you don't know yet. So, in those dark days of what we would call failure or rejection, those are learning opportunities. And when we can learn from those opportunities of failure and rejection or misdeeds of, through atonement, we become spiritually stronger,
Right.
which means we earn more angels. We earn our angels. They are not just sent to us. We earn them. We earn them by asking again. So we can do this by, the job interview, I think, is a really good aspect, because now another one, and in your world that you've been working in a long time,
Yeah.
please make sure my brother doesn't drink or do drugs anymore, angels. Stop my brother from being an addict or whatever.
Nope.
They can't do that because they can't influence my brother. My brother's not an addict. I don't want to have him just not that there's anything wrong with it. It's all a process.
Yeah.
But so they can't stop my brother from being an addict because my brother has free will. Maybe my brother is an addict because he has to atone for something in a current life or past life. Maybe my brother is an addict because he has lessons to learn or experiences he needs. We don't know the big cosmic spiritual ramification for these things. So these angels
Right.
can only abide by those spiritual laws. They can't make things happen for other people. Let's put it that way.
Correct. It's not a magic genie. God, spirit, the mother, they're not rub the bottle and out they pop. That's not what they're there for. And we need to understand there is a difference. And sometimes I believe they can be one and the same when we talk about a spirit guide versus an angel.
Mhm.
And I think it's Gabrielle is communication. I do
think so.
believe.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where, that's why it's important to say what you need and what you need it for. Just like Laura said, I have an important speaking engagement. I have an interview tomorrow. I need you to help me make sure my mind is clear so I can communicate clearly and properly. They can help in that aspect. They can throw a shield around your mind. They can try to still you. Be calm. They can put their wings around you. So when you sit down, they take some of that fear that allows you to speak. But if you get ticked off during the interview and go, you're an ass, okay? The angel's going, that one's on him.
Yep.
And nothing I can do about that one, buddy.
Yeah.
So there is free will, and angels really come through. And it's important, like you said, you earn angels with spiritual laws, things like that, to know your belief system and to understand. Okay. Know what you believe. If you don't know, it's okay. A lot of people don't.
And
But
it's
with
okay to
Laura, I'm
change
working on a series about that. Okay.
yeah,
To help people find their way. But one of the things you have to understand is you can call upon them, okay? And they are here for protection. There are sometimes, though, it might be better to actually, I believe in a personal relationship with spirit, whether you call it God, God the Mother, God the Holy Spirit, all one and the same, the universe. Sometimes it's better to call directly on spirit and
yeah.
let spirit come in and help itself, and the angels will come in as a support supporting role.
Yes, exactly.
To spirit. Okay. Like, it just, the commander in chief is here. Now we're going to fall in and you get more of a backing. So I think that's one of the things. Remember, we are not told in any scripture to call on the angels. We were told the angels will be there. Okay. But we're told to call on spirit, but spirit sends the angels. Well, again, take what you want, leave what you don't. And my thing is, we can call on the angels, but you cannot start believing that the angel is the ultimate source or your ultimate higher good. That's not what they're there for.
No, they're here to assist humanity, right? They're here to assist humanity. And here's another concept, and I don't know where you stand with this, but the angelic realms, it's a specific species. And so when a child dies, people will say, oh, my child is now my angel. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
We want to make sure our child crosses over into the arms of an angel so the angel can help them cross over. But my child who died is not going to become an angel for me.
No, I'm not going to become an angel at this point. If you ask my ex, it'd be like, no shit. It's going to be one of those things though, where because that people get these misconceived
People get
ideas.
a misconception with this. And if you think about it as a species issue, it kind of helps the human mind understand it better.
Right.
Do angels live amongst us? These are energetic beings. And so, yes, I know that I'm always surrounded by angels. And then when I'm working with somebody who is psychic or sensitive or something, they usually comment on the number of angels with me, but I use my angels 7 days a week. And I have a very specific soul mission on this planet right now that I'm going to say affords me a boatload of angels and then some, but it's the work that I do. Other people have different amounts of angels. You get what's right for you in those moments in time.
Right. And this one is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Because this is a personal belief. Now, what I'm fixing to tell you is a personal belief. I do believe that some humans are earth angels. They are angels and they don't know it. Now, whatever your play on that word is or whatnot, and a lot of times if you tell them you're an angel, they'll be the first ones to go, no, I'm not. Okay.
No, I'm not, Rob.
Yeah, exactly. But I will tell you somebody, and I say this all the time, somebody like my wife. And we were having a disagreement. Okay. I'm going ballistic, not at her. Well, kind of at the situation. And she knew it. Okay. And it's one of those things where she is an individual that will never, ever, ever, ever wish harm on anyone, not even her worst enemies. She can disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
She can walk away. But if that person fell down, okay, she will tell you, yeah, I won't give them the time of day. Yeah, BS. She would walk over, do everything that could, but then walk away from them again. There are these people that I believe have been blessed with an earth angel spirit that are here to help you. You've been around them. You've seen them.
Yeah,
Somebody that when you walk into their presence.
Absolutely. You can feel it. And I have a slightly different take, but it's the same thing, is
Right.
that there are people that incarnate here that work with the angelic realms very closely.
And
And
sometimes they don't even know it. Yeah.
I think we're speaking the same language on this one. If that makes sense?
Absolutely. Right.
Columbo, I agree with you. There are definitely, yeah. Yep. There's a lot of people out that have chosen to reincarnate here. We don't quite fit in. And, I have this friend of mine, speaking of alcohol, I'm in this group chat and we're going to meet. We're going to do a group Airbnb later on the summer or whatever. And somebody says, bring red wine, or as a kind of a joke. And somebody else says, no, I prefer white. And so somebody labeled that, well, white wine and rosé is the angelic realms. Red
There we go.
wine was for the extraterrestrials, and hard liquor was for the demons.
Yeah, there we go. And well, wait a minute now. Before we give hard liquor, I think the brown hard liquor, okay,
Okay.
but moonshine, okay. I
Okay.
think there's a reason they call it white lightning because you see angels, baby, with that real stuff. And that's what Southern boy. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I grew up. And folks, y'all don't understand. When I was in police work in parts of Florida, okay. We were still in the 80s busting stills. So it was,
Man.
oh yeah, no, big stills. So, and now you see it on what's that show, Moonshiners or whatnot. I could only watch so much of it because then I start laughing. But yeah, no. So, anyways, I digress.
I did
So,
too. But
one of the things, though, that you can do at home or at work, you can do it anywhere you want to do it. Okay. When you're really trying, if you want to bring angelic presence into your life, make sure you're creating a sacred space within your home where the angels come and know, and it becomes like a waypoint for them. Okay. Light a candle, burn incense, use the angelic meditation music.
Make sure your home is clear, or help them clear your home.
Absolutely.
So when you're bringing in angels, the clearer your home is or your surroundings are, it makes it easier to connect. The other element is, and I talk about this in my first book, Soul Tribe, Navigating the Spiritual War, Amazon. You want to make sure that you're dealing with a true angel and not a shapeshifter or an imposter being.
Very important.
There's a few tricks in that, and the book is designed to be read like almost like a bullet point fashion where you can find your stuff and okay, I'm good. So one of the things that we can do, and we can all do this together right now, is, and if anybody who chooses to participate, I also want to say, whenever somebody does something like this, you have the right of refusal to do group work. Okay, especially the spiritual realms, because there's a lot of weird, shady stuff going on.
Right.
So here's what I'll do is I tend to close my eyes. Like when I'm with a client, I think that they don't, I mean, literally my eyes are closed all the time.
All right.
I am requesting the presence of 3 angels to stand, one in front of me, one on each side of me, from the moment I leave my house to the moment I go to the hospital or wherever until I come back home. They're going to stay with me. They're going to remove whatever is not for my greater good. Before we go off with this, though, I am going to visualize myself pouring salt around all of us, frankincense oil around us, any high frequency substance, because we can see with our eyes, ears, emotions, etc. I want to make sure I'm dealing with angels from the higher realms, not a fallen angel, not a shapeshifter, not a demonic entity as a poser. So I'm really working on vetting my angels. The more you do this, the stronger you become spiritually. If you get a shapeshifter or something disappears or it just changes somehow ever so slightly or pixelates, you've dodged a bullet. Don't think you weren't worthy. Okay. And then do it again. And then do it again and again and again. This is very, very important to make sure that you retain your soul sovereignty, your spiritual health, because there are imposter beings. I'm not saying that to scare people, but I'm saying that to scare people. This blind faith we have been taught we must have. We must never question God. We must never question the angels. It's so dangerous. Who told us not to question? It wasn't God.
No, it wasn't. God will say, don't question me. Okay. In the scripture, that's what it says. Okay.
Yeah. And do what works for you.
It is my firm belief, okay, that we are, and James 1:5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God who upbraideth not and give it to all men liberally. And what this is saying is ask questions. All right. But here's the thing, like when I'm doing readings, and y'all seen a couple people come through on my Mondays and Fridays, okay? They don't like the reading, so they keep fishing for a new reading, okay?
Yeah.
That's the type of don't question me we're talking about. Once I've given you an answer, you've got your answer, okay? But to understand knowledge and to understand truth and to understand your own spirituality, question everything.
Yeah.
Don't rely on a human being, okay, that is fallible to tell you what to do with your soul. They were taught by another human being. Last time I checked, unless we have an angel that's walking the earth for eternity, that's been around since Christ, nobody here in the last couple of centuries spoke to Noah, spoke to Moses, but spoke to Job. It's all there. So yes, do I question the Bible? Yeah, I do at times. Not what's in it so much as the way I was taught of what it meant by a man. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. All of these holy texts have the same threads of truth, cosmic truth, right?
Right.
Besos a ti.
Good to see ya.
Hello, yes. And W. Colombo was saying, she's, got her ways to protect herself. And we all have different ways and manners because it works for us. It's okay to change stuff up too if you feel like it's not working as much as it used to, because everything evolves, right?
Right.
And these are important aspects, I think, of spiritual health in general, spiritual hygiene, let's say. And with the angelic realms, there's so much they're here for. And I've said this before, start using them for the basic things, the simple things. I need a good parking spot. I need a sale on I only have so many dollars for groceries. I need to find the best sales to feed my family. Okay? Use them for that. Have them help you find, okay, whatever it is that you need. They will do that. If you've lost something in your house, get calm, get centered, and ask the angels to help guide you to where your object is.
Well, look at what Straight Up just said. And Straight Up, you came in right after we talked about this very topic. And this is kind of what we're finishing up on. You're absolutely right there.
Yeah.
Vet who you're praying to, vet who you're talking to, vet who's walking around beside you. Okay. And when I say vet them, like Laura said, you can envision, there are so many different ways you can envision, salt, light, purification methods, things like this, revealing. I like to use too a lot of pure white light because again, the pure white light, if you have it move around in front of them, even in your mind's eye, okay, when you've got them, if one of them, I love your term, pixelates or the light starts to shine through, it means, whoa, wait a minute.
Not quite right there.
There you go. Exactly. And that is so true. So, let me see here. There was another thing I wanted to talk about. I made some notes here. The other thing we can do is, I helped somebody the other day, and it's funny how things happen. I have a deck sitting here of tarot cards in case I wanted to use it. Well, this is an oracle card that have been in a box. I don't think I've used them since I left Florida. And today I'm like, something's calling me. Something's here. And guess what I pull out of the box? Okay. This is nuts with what was happening and what was going on. Okay. I get
there you go.
The Archangel Metatron, and what the small print says is self-mastery oracle. It wants you to know what you're doing, to know what you have questions. Angels will guide you. How many people are saying, who am I or whatnot? If you talk to the angels, if you ask them to show you, okay,
Yeah.
because that is a high probability of what's going on. So when we set up the sacred space, you don't have to be in the sacred space. We can then turn to, I talk about being still in the mornings, 20 minutes of just being quiet, mindful, be in the moment. Meditation doesn't have to be all this. It just doesn't.
Climbing a
Okay.
mountaintop and sitting in a lotus position for 10 hours.
Yeah, crossing your eyes 3 ways from Sunday, flinch your butt cheeks, everything else, and your chakra will emit an angel. Don't people overcomplicate this? They
Yes.
really do. And sometimes you'll find out people overcomplicate it, so it makes them feel important.
Yeah.
Okay. But meditation and then visualization. And I helped somebody that did this and they actually started to meet their angels. I didn't give them a special meditation. I just told them, tell you, this is my intention. Setting intention is huge as you're going in and you start to let yourself relax and be in the moment. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them will present themselves, some of them will not, and that's very important.
Angels earn karma too.
Right.
Meaning, if we don't ask them for their help and they're standing around twiddling their thumbs all the time waiting, we cannot help them to ascend in their ranks.
Correct.
I mean, that's a big, I'm actually looking for a note that I had when I was working with a client the other day. So excuse me. And this is a little bit off topic, but I'm going to hang on to this because somebody mentioned anxiety. Do you use any product to generate white light or only meditation? You don't, it's a visualization technique, and our mind is our most powerful asset because with our mind, we can create. With our heart, we can enhance with love and those elements, but it's the free will of man that can create. So, and it's simply just a meditation practice. I can work on filling my hand with white light, for example. Start small.
Right.
You can get to the point where you can fill your whole house with white light, but these are spiritual practices.
Yeah, and it is just like when y'all watch me start to form a chi ball. At first, when I'm starting to move the energy, or I allow the energy to move through me to a point where I can feel it and send it out, one of the things is understanding it takes practice and listening, and then being still and feeling as your hands start to come together, visualizing the energy coming through your head up through your root chakra, where they all meet. It comes as above, so below, as you said once before earlier. Okay. And allowing that energy to flow, where you can then actually start feeling it as you bring your hands together. In your hands, it's one of those things. I'm going to send a blessing chi out to everybody. And I want everybody just to sit back, take a deep breath, relax. Okay. I started doing this without even thinking about it. Okay. But this is a blessing of energy, of love, of light, sending this out to the whole world. Everybody feel it right now, so mote it be. It's one of those things that boom, anybody that wants to receive it can. Anybody doesn't.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. So
I kind of go back to Columbo, who's saying that she can feel anxiety until she gets to the right place or answer. And that's wonderful because anxiety is serving a purpose here. It's serving as her intuitive guidepost, right?
Right.
And when it's that uncomfortable space within us. And I think anxiety is there's so much anxiety in this planet. It's kind of ridiculous here, but it just is. So it's a guidepost. So when you feel like you are right with this, you're right with this. It's an intuitive trust, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing you can do is use things that help you put you in the mind of angels. Your toolbox. What do you got? Y'all have seen me. I've got different angelic decks here.
Yeah.
All right. Like I said, I've got the Metatron deck right here. Okay. Different things that put me that So I go into a special place. We do meditation. We're calling on the angels. I'll call to God and say, send your angels, like I do in most prayers when we start,
Yeah.
But then I'll ask the angels, I need your protection. I need you around me. There's something that's going on. Okay. And I'm telling you, protect me. All right. And I will demand it. All right. Because we are told.
And with an angel, when we're talking about these angel requests, it is a demand. Oh, and it's, I would really like for some angels to come. That's not good enough for them. I am making the request that.
Right.
Versus, oh gosh, I really wish there'd be angels that would come right now.
Yeah. I want you to think about telling your kid, well, I really wish you would clean your room. Okay. Yeah. Unless you haven't, if that kid cleans his room, you have an angel kid. Okay.
Right.
Because they'll be like, well, you didn't tell me
If they
to.
clean your room too?
Yeah. No. What do you got to do for most results? And you know what, folks? That's the reason we talk about Gabrielle and communication. Okay. If you have a problem with people, why do people not get me? Why don't they understand me? Have you asked for help in your communication? Because sometimes we have been beaten into a place of, I can't demand anything, or that I'll drop 33 pins. Yeah. And my dad would tell me, I grew up with my dad telling me as a kid, if you want something, ask for it. If you hint at it, I can guarantee you ain't getting it.
When you ask for something, what's the worst that could happen?
Right.
No.
That's it. And you know what? And you got your answer right away.
I learned that lesson years ago when I was this really good super volunteer.
Right.
I was helping run this big city parade, and all my best, looking for donations and this and that. And the worst that people could say to me was, nope, can't help you. Sorry. No big deal.
Right. And even in sales, we used to teach people, don't be emotionally attached to the outcome, because realize the more people that are saying no, the closer you're getting to finding that person that will say yes. And what I want people to understand is when you're talking to angels, you need to be very clear. Once you start talking clearly to angels, you can start talking clearly to the other people in your life.
Yeah.
All right.
Very true.
That it's just simple, when we talk about open and closed-ended questions, in the immediate sales, everybody knows what that is now. Closed-ended, yes or no. Open-ended, we can get a narrative going. Okay. When you're talking with an angel, more than 9 times out of 10, okay, you need to do closed-ended. Here's what I need. Okay. Please come forward.
Yeah.
That's it. They either have to say yes or no.
Right.
Okay. And it's not disrespectful, because the Bible, other scriptures, other holy texts talk about that we have been told to demand that as spiritual beings, we are able to demand things of the holy powers.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm saying be careful. The Bible got a lot of stuff in there that people talk around and they don't, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The last church service I was in the South, it was just horrible. Okay. It was horrible. And bad as hate to say it, old independent fundamental Baptist. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, don't be afraid to question. We had to get up and walk out.
Yeah.
Walk
Catherine has a really good comment that I would love to talk about here.
Okay.
Have you seen angels, and what do angels look like? Okay. So I see angels all the time, and I see other beings all the time. It's just what I do. And it depends upon my frequency and energy levels as to what or how I'm going to perceive the angel. And it also depends on what I'm going to call it station the angel is at, like what level or whatever. Okay. So in our human mind construct, we tend to look at them as humanoid figures. Okay. They've got a head, they've got arms, right? Fully gown. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the case. sometimes I see them as just pure streams of energy, streams
Right?
of light. They're usually a white golden light, sometimes a white golden with silvery blue in them. If I'm really tired, I can sense them. I know they're here because I can sense them. A lot of times I can feel them like they're little bubbles on my arms or on my legs, and they're touching me.
Right.
So there's many ways, and it also is unique to the person because as people, we all have different vibrational frequencies and different ways to experience the same thing. So we have many ways to see an angel. And Catherine, I am willing to bet that was probably an angel that you did see because it didn't leave you with a negative feeling. It didn't leave you in any form of harm. You didn't get any, I'm assuming you didn't get any negative thoughts put in your head, that kind of thing. So
And the other thing I will say, Catherine, we do have to understand we've got to get out of the human aspect when we're talking about extraterrestrial or angelic beings, okay? Because they're not all what we picture as humanoid. And I know this because one of the ones was at a service at
Mhm.
one place, and a guest speaker was there who was an angel. That was his big thing about angel. And the pastor of that church knew me and said, I worry about him because he doesn't seem to know fear, especially when I was doing police work or whatnot.
Mhm.
And he's like, well, he shouldn't. You don't see his angel? And I'm like, well, I know something's there. I can feel, a lot of times I feel a presence. Okay. And I feel like it's over me. He said, your angel is 8 feet tall, is wearing a breastplate of what the Levites, it looks something similar to what the Levites would have worn, but he's got the head of an eagle. Okay. And the wings. That angels can take all kinds of form and shape. And I think at some point, God, Spirit, Michael, whoever said, this man directly challenges evil. And he challenges, so we need to put a mighty being in his presence. I've also got an angel that is called Michael. That's the name I know him by, but I've never declared him to be Michael the Archangel. And I have never seen his face. He has the white robes, jet black hair, but the hair is, it would almost, if I had somebody do a sketch of him, it would almost look like a horror picture because the black hair is hanging down in his face or whatnot. But he is there. He's a mighty presence. I don't know everything about him. And so I'm trying to determine if he's more of a angelic spirit guide that I can talk
Mhm.
to. Okay. And these angels and these beings will rotate in and out of your life. So yeah,
Our spiritual teams, our angels do come and go, ebb and flow, right?
yes,
They do. And so we may start out life with a certain set of angels, but as we evolve, our angelic team evolves. Or if we
right.
start to de evolve, so does our angelic team. They may fall to the wayside. So our
Yeah, if
angelic
you're
presence,
rejecting everything they're doing.
right?
Now, once you realize and you throw your belief back into it, you can then call forth and they will send an angel or what, again, whatever you're going through at that time. But it is not, you know, we're never alone and they're only a whisper away. Okay. But you got to believe in what you're talking about.
Yeah. And they're here to assist. Can
Right.
angels use any means of communication? I'm going to say pretty much. Um, and it depends on how we absorb our information. So, as a psychic, some people hear, some people see, some people hear and see, some people smell. I feel bad for those people because sometimes I smell and it's never very good.
No, no. When you're in
We
that
sense,
presence of a
we
bad presence,
sense our, yeah, our, yeah, you can smell as usual, unless it's lilac. So, when angels come to me and I sometimes I will get the scent of a lilac To me, lilacs are the scent of an angel. There's no lilacs in the room, but
Right.
that's the scent. So there's many ways, and we don't, and sometimes it's an intuitive feeling, and trust those feelings. That's super important. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I had someone tell me they saw a humanoid creature guarding my bedroom door. That very well. And they may not have been able to, because of their faith, whatever they are, their limitations, okay,
Yeah.
because of their belief, this angel may have very well presented themselves, but they couldn't comprehend what they were seeing.
And there's
And this is
extraterrestrials too that are very benevolent. So, for example, it could have been a Lyran, it could have been even a Pleiadian, it could have been, many things. But the point is that it was guarding and protecting you.
correct.
Angels will, as Catherine says, they will often come to an accident scene to help a deceased person cross over. They can also help if you have actually, if we got a few more minutes here, if you have a loved one in the hospital, make the request their hospital room is flooded with angels. Make the request that your surgeon's hands are guided by the hands of the angels. Make the request that while you're in the hospital, you're getting a medical procedure, that you fill the room with angels and light and these removing any and all dark entities. If you have children at home that are dealing with night terrors or are scared, bring in a choir of angels, a phalanx of angels, as many as that you can get to come to stand in the room. They can go shoulder to shoulder. There's no fire codes for angels. You can't have too many.
Nope.
Nope.
And one of the things I will tell you, and I know this from personal aspect, we think of angels coming, like you said, to help somebody cross over at an accident scene. Remember, angels are there for protection. And there are many times I believe those angels are present, not for the people involved in the accident, but to help protect the first responders.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
there have been too many, I've been in near misses, things like that, where I had to be where I was at, but cars flying by within inches. I have felt rear view mirrors pop me on the chest. They were that close to me. All right. And I've had people run up to me and go, "Are you all right?" Yeah, I barely felt anything. I believe those are the presence of angels.
You're bringing up a good point too with first responders and people whose jobs, careers are of service. It likens the ability for angels to be of service to them as well. Because
Exactly.
you are of service, therefore you are in many cases, not always, but in many cases afforded more protection
Yes.
for those moments.
And especially if you have a karmic debt that is very important to play, and spirit sees that you're going to carry this out and write it, they will put extra protection in your way to try to make sure whatever this is you're trying to accomplish gets done. Okay.
Mhm.
But I'm reminded of a scene in a movie. What was the name of that? Denzel Washington, he's a bodyguard for a little girl. And
I don't know.
he puts a bullet in his gun, pulls trigger, he's going to kill himself. He's gone into that state of depression and alcoholism. Okay. Bullet doesn't fire. He picks up the phone, calls his best buddy, Christopher Walken, and says, "Hey, have you ever heard of, a bullet not going off? Yeah, failure to fire. Okay. It happens. Okay.
Yeah.
The little girl he was guarding helped him overcome his alcoholism. He fell desperately in love with her as a little girl, not,
Hmm.
man crap stuff. All right. As a father figure almost. She got kidnapped and they thought she was dead. Well, come to find out, and this is based on a true story. Come to find out, the father arranged for the kidnapping because he had hostage insurance, okay, on the girl, and he was going to take it. And yes, y'all need to understand, it's based on a true story. All right. When he found out the dad had something to do with it, he reached in his pocket and took that bullet out and handed it to him. And he said, there's only one way to find out about you saying you're pure and all that. Here, gave him that very same bullet. Okay. And as he's walking out of the house, you hear bang, you know. So the bullet that didn't go off for him went off for somebody else. These are divine interventions. So I believe he had, and he went on to find the little girl, that she wasn't dead. Okay. But this is one of those things where divine intervention knew, I've got to keep this man alive because he's going to find this person.
Yep.
So this is the type of thing we're talking about. Okay. And this is, you know, there are so many things that can be, and people want to just toss them aside or whatnot. Angels are ever present on the earth, in this room, in our moving between us, different things. And a lot of times, all we have to do is call on them. Let yourself believe.
I know.
You know, it's sad.
Yeah, it's and they're free. Okay, they don't cost you anything other than a moment of your time to help you. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think a lot of people don't want to believe in it because then that puts their whole life and existence in the way they're living their life and things. It brings everything to question.
It does. And if somebody's in that space, they're going to be their experience so they can learn whatever it is they need to learn. But there's more to life than just going to work, watching TV, eating dinner, right? There's so much more. So much
Absolutely.
more.
I say to my wife all the time, I'm so thankful for you. It's easy to say I love you, but to say I appreciate you, guys, if you're listening, sometimes one wants to hear she's appreciated more than she wants to hear I love you.
And I think that's true in every type of relationship, right?
Yeah,
You know, thank you for your help. I appreciate what you've done, right? Yeah, yeah. And W. Colombo, if those were negative entities guarding the room, there's some things that we can do because there are negative entities out there as well that harass, etc. So you can always shoot me an email if you want.
Yep.
On that one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And folks, while we're doing this, we're coming to the spot. I want you to understand, go down into my description. Okay. Click the little more word underneath the title. Okay. It'll open up. There's my link tree. In that link tree, and right down below my link tree is Laura's books. In my link tree are links to classes for Laura's self-defense course and other books and things like that. Yeah. Very easy to find right here, right now, to make sure. Then in there, also, you'll see my book about learning to read tarot. You'll see books my wife has written about manifestation and different things, and a journal or whatnot. There's a lot of material right at your fingertips right now talking about spiritual self-defense from awareness from people who know. Okay. So don't miss out on that. All right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
thank you for that. The goal is to share information and also share what works. There's so much BS out there. And yeah, you know, there's a lot of icky people.
Yeah.
And you know what? They offer us lessons too. And so I was just writing this blog that'll be out, I think, in a week or two, about, you know, we meet somebody and there's a spidey sense. I'm not sure, but we ignore it, right? And eventually, you know, that little cosmic, you know, tap on the shoulder, that intuition turns out to be, you're going to get hit over the head by a cosmic 2x4 if you don't like really listen, right?
Yep.
And there are people that are attracted to light being people.
Yes.
So, you know, there are people who are the negative people being attracted to the narcissist empath relationship. So yeah, there's all kinds of things. And we got to give ourselves permission to say no.
Yeah.
Surround yourselves with angels, because those negative people can't handle the frequency of a bunch of angels either.
Exactly. And there's one thing I want to do before we end.
Absolutely.
When you're talking to your angels, this is important. Listen to me. Talk to them like a trusted friend.
Yes.
Talk to them just like you would talk to me. to Laura, to your kids. Hey, what's going on? I'm scared. I need your protection. You don't have to go into all this holier than thou, masterful Billy Graham episode of prayer. You just don't. Okay. And I'm not cutting Billy Graham down by any stretch of the imagination. But a lot of people, again, they overcomplicate your own spirituality. And these are beings that are here to help you. And all they want to do is, a lot of times, if you will talk to them, they'll step even closer. They just want a personal relationship with you.
And
Don't miss out.
one last element before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Do not forget to send your angels your love, your blessings, and your gratitude for their assistance.
Absolutely.
When you work with me,
Absolutely.
that's how we close up every session. I'm thanking the angelic realms and the other beings for their love. I'm sending them my love, my blessings, and my gratitude, because who doesn't want an infinity loop of those three elements, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's very sincere too, because they do so much for us. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, so folks, here's what I want to say. I am going to tell the angels, go forth. Be with the tribe, be with people, give people a good night's sleep tonight. Let them know their protection is there. Laura and I are saying, go protect the flock, protect people. Understand, we are giving that divine order and saying, we're speaking on behalf of other people that we know, we love, that we care about. We want people to feel peace tonight. We want people to feel love. We want people to feel cocooned in angelic presence. That is just something we need to do. All right.
absolutely. Thank you.
Anything else, Miss Laura?
No, I just want to thank everybody for spending time with us. I know we've got a million things we could be doing, and so I know I'm speaking for you too, but we're very honored and blessed and humbled to have you here as well. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be a part. It means a lot. It really
does.
means a lot. So, with all that being said, y'all know the drill. Take what you want, leave what you don't, but just leave having experienced peace, love, and light. Angels, go forth.